How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Streamer Pack Podcast, Episode 2. Today we are here to talk about Hearthstone. I am your host, Luiginator. You can find me at my channel on YouTube, which is just Luiginator. Put it in the search bar and look for the mustache. And today we have two guests here. We have Fate and Tag is Bad. So, Fate, we'll start with you just because you're the first name on my list right here. Take a second. You can explain yourself, explain like your channel and your background, how you got into Hearthstone and all that.
All right, thank you, Luiginator. Hi, I'm Fate. Fatebringer is my Twitch stream. I got into Hearthstone early 2018 through my friend, but I was playing on his phone for a long time, so I didn't have my own account and collection until much later. And I'm a WoW player and started streaming recently, so if you want to check me out, it'd be great.
Nice, sounds good. You had quite the friend who was just letting you play Hearthstone on his phone and everything.
Oh yeah. he was like, "Here, pleb, use my phone while I use my computer."
Here, pleb, I will reach down and hand it to you. That's like, funny.
Here's addiction on a stick.
That's good. That's good. All right, and Tag is Bad. Why don't you take a second, introduce yourself to everybody?
Sure. Thanks very much. Yeah. So I'm Tag is Bad. Tag for short. Sure. I'm not really big on trying to stream anything myself, but I do kind of co-host a podcast with me and a bunch of friends from another server. You can check us out on YouTube. Channit Cast. That's CHANNIT Cast. Yep. We talk about a huge variety of stuff like games, media, like pretty much anything, and it gets pretty bad. Personally, I started playing Hearthstone around the same time as Fate. It was like mid-2018, Doomsday expansion. Got into Wild near the beginning of 2020, and that's all for me.
Nice. Good stuff from both of you. All right, well, I'm glad that the both of you have extensive experience with Hearthstone because I have none of it. And when they asked me to host this podcast, I said, hello, I've never played Hearthstone, and they said, that's fine. So you guys, I will be learning a lot today as we go through these questions. To start off with, we're going to have you guys talk about the new update and explain what the deal with that is a little bit. Compare and contrast the game before the update and how the game is now after the update. Changes, things that were better, things that were worse, and talk a little bit about how you think it'll change when the meta stabilizes.
All right.
Well, that's a pretty juicy. Are they talking about the 19.4 patch that just launched like yesterday?
I think they're talking about the mini set in general and everything.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I can work with that. Did you want to start, or all good with me?
Sure, yeah. I think that the mini set is a great introduction, especially if they're going to continue doing the free-to-play assistance by making it the 2,000 gold or $15 for 35 card set. That's the most free-to-play thing that Blizzard has ever done. But, of course, I think that the meta's going to have to go through a couple roller coasters before it does any sort of balancing, because they're obviously going to make a couple nerfs very soon.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I feel like I'm really glad they set the precedent here on mini sets with, being able to just buy it. 2,000 gold it's a solid maybe 3 or so weeks of grinding with this new reward system that they've introduced. But for 66 cards and 4 legendaries compared to just buying 20 packs, that's great. So I'm really glad that they kind of set it there, because now they can't really shift off of that or make it more expensive or whatnot, because it would be pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
But in terms of meta, if I'll go into it a little bit. Overall, it's not. Not as impactful as I would have hoped. Obviously, there's some really good big standouts like Nitro Boost Poison or Hysteria. Wild Hysteria has already broken everything with a new OTK. You've heard of that, I presume, the Wretched Tiller. Oh no,
Farmer's doing his work.
Boy howdy, am I undead? Yeah. So obviously in the recent Twitter AMA that Ixar, one of the main devs, hosted, he talked about how the team doesn't really want to touch Wild at all, and how it would require something really big, like the Naga Sea Witch situation they had, or the Snip Snap thing that was going on back in
Or
like
the Dark Lair Warlock.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, do I think that they're going to address Wretched Tiller and the OTK? No. Because, obviously, this is pretty much a combo you can't play around. You can't Dirty Rat it because all the main combo pieces are two of, because none of them are legendary. But there's one deck that counters it, and that's Secret Mage. And if you play Wild, you play Secret Mage.
Well, actually, I've done some thought on how they would even go about nerfing it, and I think that there's two obvious ways that you could nerf that deck or that OTK, and one of them is the right way and one of them is the Blizzard way. The Blizzard way is make the Death Speaker cost 5. That's the right way. That's the Blizzard way. That's what they're gonna do because they do is they tweak mana costs. They don't change wording. I think the best way to do it is to change the wording on Hysteria so it acts more like Deathwing Mad Aspect, where it attacks every other minion instead of attacking until it dies.
I totally agree with that. I feel like, yeah, if anything, if they do touch it, which I am fairly certain they're not going to because of all the things they've been saying, I mean, nerfing the cost is exactly what Blizzard would do. And then that just makes it a little more troublesome. You just got to get like a Thoris tick or two off, and it's still fine. But what I think I would
Master.
No, not at all. Shrinkmeister, I think, is the card. That's the main thing.
Shrinkmeister.
You play the Tiller for 1. You Shrinkmaster's attack to 0. You give him the immune with the Death Speaker, and then you Hysteria. And this combo can be played with like your opponent cannot play around it unless they're running Ice Block. Which is again Secret Mage.
Then you can't use Ice Block because it skips the opponent's turn because of how long.
Yeah, I also read about that. I was watching this one thing where you can actually how in Battlegrounds, Crip has been pretty vocal about his hatred for this, about the disconnect and reconnect for more time on your turns thing, right? You can do that with this combo. If you're playing the Secret Mage, your Ice Block goes off, you disconnect and reconnect, and your turn will still be like I've seen a couple Secret Mages manage to beat it with that. But either way, like when the OTK is only countered by one deck and one deck that has a specific exploit and the exact certain, I mean, you can explosive runes away their stuff too. If you can manage to, I guess that is the counter. Get both the Tillers. Either way, yeah.
Or counterspell.
Or counterspell away the Hysteria, or Spellbender it. There's a fair amount of counterplay you can do with this, but it's so limited that, like, I don't know. I went from Platinum 5 to Platinum 3 just playing this OTK, and I was facing Secret Mages and Raza Priests and Odd Rogues. Speaking of, Nitro Boost Poison is stupid on Odd Rogue, and Kingsbane to an extent as well.
Yeah.
But either way, I've kind of...
Yeah, and I think that one thing that I'm really excited for this whole expansion or mini set, that is inadvertently a buff, not really a direct buff, is to even Hunter, because that deck doesn't see play.
Oh yeah, Fellfire Deadeye.
Well, Fellfire Deadeye, and you have let me check the name real quick. Moonfang.
Are you talking about Steam Weedle Sniper?
No, I'm talking about Moonfang.
Oh wait. Guardian Animals.
Well, not just Guardian Animals, but also because of Deathstalker Rexar. It's a 5 cost.
Are they still adding minions to his pool for Build a Beast?
Yes, they are.
Wow.
So it's any beast that costs 5 or less. So now you can put Moonfang.
That's crazy. You can
do Bear Shark and Moonfang, so that way it can't be targeted by spells. And then it's a 9 mana, 10/7 or 9 mana 10/6, and it can't be targeted by spells, and it only takes 1 damage at a time. That is
if you're going. Oh, definitely. What I was just thinking of was, imagine going, like, obviously you'd want to do this against a class where they've used up all their removal, where they don't have enough non-minion to begin with, but imagine, like, Moonfang into, like, Wolpertinger, that's, like, 6 mana for 2, 6/4s? That can only take 1 damage at a time. That's, like, pretty ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, I love Moonfang, even though it's not seeing play, but I think it will eventually.
I've been seeing some already. I found a druid list, in big and guardian animals. Although the thing is, you have to, like, it's kind of dumb. You have to guardian animals before you embiggen because obviously their cost goes up. But I mean, it definitely, and if you can taunt it or something like Iron Bark it or whatnot, like it's a pretty potent threat to have on the field. And as you're saying about Even Hunter, that's a deck I really enjoy. When they nerfed Dino Killer Brand up to 8, I was experimenting with it a little bit. And I think that Deadeye really gives it consistency, because a big way that you're clearing early threats as Even Hunter is with the Steam Wheel Sniper. I presume you know the card.
Yeah, the
2 mana.
target. Yeah, the goblins and
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 mana 2/3. It's basically the 1 mana 1/3, but an even, obviously. And
yeah, so you can
obviously like
power.
yeah, exactly. And the main trouble is you have to have your mana left over. You can't really just safely drop it on 2 because it'll likely get removed. So I think that Felfire Deadeye really gives you can kind of just play both Steam Weedle and Deadeye on 4, maybe even coin it out on 3, and then be able to clear whatever minion your opponent has with your targeted hero power. Which, I mean, maybe it's not as good as I'm hoping, but I feel like it'll give the deck. Maybe it'll see resurgence, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, on top of that, there's also the 2 cards that I really enjoyed that came out. I think are sleeper cards. And that would be Crab Rider, the new Murloc. I think that's a sleeper for Murloc decks because it 2 mana 1/4 is amazing for Murlocs in general. With Rush and Wind Fury, it's sleeper. I think that Murlocs could come back strong in both wild and standard. And I think that Armor Vendor is another sleeper card because it's going to give a huge rise to more combo decks. And it's
control.
Much. I think it's good that they're pushing control because aggro is just cancer.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I play the game so that way I can sit down and enjoy it and go for 5 minutes and lose.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think that if you treat a Wind Fury minion as basically having double what their base attack is, right, which is what I kind of do, it's basically a 2 mana 2/4 with Rush. If you are running it into the same minion twice, but I think overall it does have a lot of potential. Scargill is still in standard for a few more months, so maybe something like Murloc Shaman or Murloc Paladin can make a comeback because Crab Rider does give them kind of their main struggle is really maintaining board because you with any Murloc deck really you pretty much want to just fill the board with 1 health minions. And then maybe get a board buff on them, whether that's War Leader or the Felfin Navigator. And I think that, Crab Rider definitely gives them the means to kind of deal with early boards. And even if you can keep a War Leader on board or something, then it's essentially like clear 2 mid-sized minions, which is really great.
Plus, if you mix him with Toxfin, it could be 2 target removal in a lot of cases, too.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. A lot of potential
so 3
there.
3 mana destroy 2 enemy minions.
If we're talking about sleepers, well, it's not exactly a sleeper. People are pretty open. Arbor Up for Druid, right? That's like I think it's going to be really impactful. It's the 5 mana.
Yeah,
because even if you're
+2/+1.
Yeah, because like regardless of Treant Synergy or having a board, in its worst state, this is 5 mana for 2 4/3s, which is like pretty solid. And then if you have because I mean, again, Druid loses, Blessing of Ancient, and pretty much all their big board buffs and all their big token generators are rotating out this expansion. They still have, I guess, like Runic Carvings for immediate board presence. But yeah, like I feel like Arbor Up could kind of push Token Druid in standard. It's really the base card, and if they just keep supporting it gradually, it'll be a pretty. It has potential, in my opinion.
Well, not just that it's has potential, but also just the fact that this is a. Let me check the name of the cards that way I don't get it wrong. I should go to standard cards. It's basically a Savage Roar on a stick with 2 extra mana. Because it gives instead of just giving all of your friendly characters to attack, it's a permanent buff, it summons minions, and it gives them health too. This is just the ultimate aggro tool, even though it's 5 cost, but it's super good for any zoo deck.
Oh yeah, pretty much any Druid deck with this really pushes Gibberling Druid as well because you can really just get them pumping.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I think that the distinction you made from Savage Roar is really good because it also distincts. Well, I guess you could say it leads into why this card still won't be played in token aggro kind of druids in Wild because the kit for that deck is just so refined already. The first deck I ever played in Wild was that deck. I got it from like a Solemn video, I think. Because it's so cheap on Dust, you pretty much only need patches and like you have your board of 2/2s or even like
And you don't even
3/3s. I mean, yeah, realistically, you can, yeah, but you just go in big in and then you pull that 5/5 patches from your deck and you mark the Lotus everything, or you Savage Roar, and it just has. I mean, the nerf of Voracious was a bit of a hit, but I mean, it's still a pretty big contender in the Wild meta. So I think this could maybe push a more mid-sized, maybe even Treant tokens in Wild. You know, Goru was like F tier, like in his entire time in Standard. But maybe, possibly, with all the tools they have in Wild, you could play Goru, you could play a Treant sort of mid-range deck, and then use Arbor Ups and Savage Roars and stuff to kind of close out the game. So I'll be interested to see how that shapes out in the future.
I mean, you play a Goru. All of a sudden, you play this 5-mana card, and you summon for 5 mana. Instead of getting 2 4/3s, you get 2 5/4s for 5 mana.
Yeah, exactly.
On top of anything,
and
it's just scary.
Yeah, and then with all the Treant stuff that's in Wild, at some point it has to reach critical mass where it's like going to be like secret mage levels of Cancer, where every card in the deck is just completely fine-tuned around this one thing.
I mean, God forbid that Druid gets some sort of reliable mana reduction for a minion, because then Goro is going to become busted.
Oh, definitely. I remember this was a couple months ago. There's like Geppetto Druid, where one of the big things is you pull your Goro with Geppetto, and then you just end the game with like buff Treants. Obviously, it's kind of inconsistent because you have to like juicy Psych Melon into you risk like drawing the Goro with your, so. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely think that Treant Druid, just this card alone, kind of makes it a little more promising than it was before.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to go class by class and just like talk a little?
Yeah, we've kind of been bouncing around, but we can. Yeah, let's do that. So which one do you want to cover?
We've covered a bunch already. I feel like we've covered Druid, Hunter, and neutral in general. Let's talk Hunter for a sec.
All right, so people. I mean, I would love to, because people are really sleeping on the Demon Hunter kit, right? Illidari Studies is like completely 100% like a better.
It's terrifying.
They've literally already power prepped. What's the card? Double Jump from Skullman's Academy. Like, this is this isn't just like
not just did they power creep, but this fits so perfectly because now you can have Skull of Gul'dan and odd Demon Hunter in Wild, because if you
can, oh my god.
If you, and it gets put in anything you discover off of this is the best study so far, because it puts it in this position that you need to have it, because when you add it to your hand, it's going to be on the right side, and the outcast card that you discover will be ready to go. You can, on turn 6, you can discover a Skull of Gul'dan and play it immediately and refill your hand with cheap cards. And it's terrifying for Wild, it's terrifying for Standard, but we're not going to see it in Wild until something happens about this.
Yeah, and as it stands right now, the pool of outcast cards is narrow enough that you can actually use it to pretty reliably get a Skull, because chances are you'll get it out of one of the 3, obviously discovers. So yeah, this is a very scary card, and if they keep on printing good outcasts, it'll just get better and better.
I do think this is a card that will get less good over time, however, for Wild, because as that pool gets bigger, random discover effects won't be as reliable. It'll give you a bunch of removal, or it'll give you summons. I'm surprised there's not that many, because they've always tried to push the big demon or package, or the
Soul
package.
Yeah. I was pretty bummed out that they kind of used up all of the Skullman's Academy Demon Hunter cards on the whole Soul Fragment thing, because like I would have liked to see, they got Ancient Voidhound, only one big demon. Yeah.
I'm surprised there's no like outcast cards that synergize with Zoo or synergize with big minions, like reducing the cost of something in your hand after if it's outcast. You know, like there's no
Yeah.
like outcast support for what they're trying to push, and that's why it sucks because outcast is so good.
Yeah. I mean, one outcast card that is actually pretty decent that like Star Student Stelino, okay. Obviously it's not the meta breaker it's like Glide 2.0, but I find that like she performs pretty well in like a soul list that kind of specializes in just clearing board and going face. But okay, while we're on the topic of big demons, right? Cell Saber is the other demon hunter card of the mini set, right?
People are shitting on it, and I think it's actually.
I swear to God,
really
I don't know why people like a 4-mana fight. Demon Hunter's already attacking like every turn, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have your Fellfire Deadeye and you can stick it, this is like. I mean, a lot of people have made the comparison to that Grand Tournament card. It's like the 2-mana 2/4 and it has Inspire. You can attack, right? Everybody is saying that this is just that card but bigger, but it's not because you have a weapon. You know,
well,
this is a 5/6.
More accurately, you could probably compare it to the 3-mana 3/5 that can only attack if you've attacked this turn. And that card was run. Yeah, that card was run
in some rogue and warrior list, I think.
Well,
really?
Wow. Yeah, it was running a lot of odd Demon Hunter decks at the start of their meta, and obviously this is a 4-mana card. It's not going to be an odd Demon Hunter, but in standard, in standard you can pair this with what's that card called? Philosophy, and now you have then you have 2 4-mana 6/7s that can attack every turn because you're attacking every turn.
Definitely. And I feel like this is just like a perfect card to push a less aggro sort of maybe control-ish tempo style Demon Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll see play event like it has to. It's just it is a pretty big sleeper. I think that it'll find its place soon.
I think at rotation
as the meta settles. Yeah,
At rotation, if the initiate set does go out with last year's stuff, which I think it will, then this will.
They said that they're going to be piece because they've been giving Demon Hunter more cards than the other classes in every expansion so far, and they're going to stop that now because this rotation they're treating Initiate as part of Year of the Dragon. They said they're going to be taking parts of Initiate and putting some of them to Wild and putting some of them in like the basic Classic set. I honestly hope they just send Twin Slice to Wild. I do not want to be playing with that card any longer.
I hate Twin Slice. I hate Twin Slice in so many ways. It's the most oh my god. I hate how they're like, okay, we'll nerf it, and they made it worse because they nerfed it. They were like,
no, they made it better because odd demons
I mean, they made it worse for everyone else.
Yeah, true. In standard.
Yeah, they made it more of a problem. Even in Wild, because now it's an odd Demon Hunter. Now it's in duels. It's breaking the game in duels. It's ridiculous.
The worst feeling is like playing your stuff, and then you realize they have that second slice and you're like, oh my god.
Well, what I really hate is when you're like, okay, I have 10 health, and then you just see they whip out the Twin Slice, and you're like, I'm done.
Yeah, they drop the 5/5 that gives them +5. The Soul Shard goes away. And they just cane, and your board of Carnival Clowns is just useless. You're dead.
Oh, yeah. Last Demon Hunter card, Lucky Soul Hoarder. Solid. Nothing bad, just solid.
I agree. This is a card that people are kind of like, meh. Like, I think it's a really, really great example. It's a great usage of Corrupt, because this thing is completely playable uncorrupted. Like, it's basically just a bigger Spirit Jailer.
I mean, there's only of course two ways. Oh, you go.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, corrupting it is a little clunky because Demon Hunter doesn't really want to be sitting on it just to play a 4. Like, I guess you could curve into this nicely with like a Marrow Slicer on 4 and then play this on 3. I feel like, oh yeah, definitely. But I feel like Warlock is really like the one that's taking advantage of this guy because they can just Cascading Disaster maybe to corrupt it. They can corrupt it with Ticketus in a really weird situation if it happens. It's much more flexible in Warlock because of how much more control oriented. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts?
I think that this card exemplifies why Corrupt didn't work out that well, because it shows that there's all these other cards that are Corrupt cards that have like a downside unless they're corrupted, and that's why Corrupt didn't work so well. This card, it's like it's good either way, but if you corrupt it, it's just great. Like a 3-mana,
and that's why
3/4 Battle Cry is good on it itself. If it draws a card too, that's just really meta defining.
I was playing with this in Ring Standard. I'm in Gold 10. I only climb in Wild. I'm like Platform Wild, yeah. And I literally just dropped 2 of these on 6, and then he cleared, and I just dropped my buffed out Militia, you know, with like a 4, you know, 3/3 rushes. So definitely a great card that pushes the slower Control Warlock a bit. But while we're talking about Corrupt, as a mechanic, I'm just not really a fan of how they handled it. I love Corrupt in concept, but the way they sort of parasitically is designed like Yashiraj, right? I'm personally just not a fan of cards that, like legendaries especially, that rely on a keyword that's exclusive to a certain, you know, like you look at Making Mummies, right? The Paladin Questionable Doom. It's like the least played. I know, because like there's no more Reborn, it's gone. So it's like, what's the point? You know, something like Zoth, you know, Menagerie will always kind of be a thing. You know, Yogg, new one, you know, spells obviously are universal. And then Yashiraj is only good if there's a good amount of Corrupt being played. Like, you know, it just doesn't feel... I kind of wish they'd done something different and truer to Yashiraj, his original iteration in Hearthstone with like a minion effect.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it could have been like, at the end of your turn, add a Corrupt minion to your hand and corrupt it. You know, that could have been interesting.
Yeah. Like, that's solid, and even then, that's not even like game breaking either. That's just a good card.
Exactly. The issue with Yashiraj is that, like, in order for you to, like, you have to have corrupted all your stuff and played it out before you drop this 10-mana minion. Like, I've had games where it's like you have that corrupt card in hand, but and like it would be good, and you're like, but I really want to play with Yashiraj, you know, like Carnival Clown especially, like it's kind of unsatisfying. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the biggest issues with Corrupt as a keyword was just the fact that it didn't. Any time that you played a Corrupt card as is, it felt so bad. It felt so like it felt like 2019, like in current meta kind of stuff. But
like playing a 3-mana 3/2 Divine Shield, like
yeah, like it's just bad. But when you play it corrupted, it felt really good. But the thing is you have to commit other mana to it. Like, I love it, but I feel like in order for these cards to be good, they have to be at value good cards, and then corrupt them to be busted, so that way they're worth holding on to.
Yeah, and I would contrast it with, you know, Overkill, all the way back from Rastakhan Drumble. They handled them more similarly than most people like to, you know, they kind of overvalued. They overvalue value, if you get what I mean. Like, like no Overkill cards at all saw any play outside of the Linecracker Druid combo, which only came from Wild. So yeah,
which doesn't even like happen anymore.
Exactly.
Aggro's too big.
Yeah. So overall, they kind of have an issue with struggling to balance their more like non-base keywords. You know, as keywords get more and more complicated, you know, I feel like the Uldum quests were a great base point for like balance. You know, because they all took a fair amount of time, like I'll say like 6-ish turns, maybe 7 to complete, and they all give fairly good rewards for the amount of effort you put into them. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I think.
So yeah.
I think I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that they've overvalued a lot of value cards, and they've undervalued pretty much all resource cards.
Voraciously. It's like
anything that generates something else is so much cheaper than it should be, or the effect is way stronger than it should be, like Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, any discovery
and look
card.
at Shadow Jeweler Hanar, right? Went from 5 health to 4. Oh my god, yeah. So we spent a little too. You want to move to the next class? Let's try to get maybe through the mini set a little. This is a great conversation.
Yeah, I know. I might talk with you a little bit later after.
Oh, definitely. I'm really passionate.
yeah.
All right. So, what's in class? What do you want to go?
Druid. Let's just touch on it real quick. I'd like to
Okay,
say,
we already hit Arbor up.
Yeah, I'd like to say Dreaming Drake is a sleeper. Resizing Pouch is a never include but a good discover, and Guidance is like a sleeper also.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll hit Dreaming Drake first because this card scares me. Okay, I do not like it because this like you can just go as because the one the exactly. No, but you see, a Dreaming Drake is worse against Dragon Slayer. Okay, it's bad. It's bad. You know. Anyways, so like Dreaming Drake, one of Druid's main issues is their kind of lack of a solid early game. But with Dreaming Drake now, you can play a 3-mana 3/4 taunt. You can play it. You can like the thought of overgrowth on 4 into a what is it, a 5/7? No wait, a 5/6 taunt the next turn with like another card on top. You know, like, and then they can bring it back with N'Zoth as their dragon if they want to.
And Emerald.
And you can obviously Yashiraj it. Oh my god, yeah. It's like just definitely, literally, the sleeping dragon is being slept on. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Resizing Pouch.
See, people say this. People say, oh, you know, it's like Zephyrus, but like arguably, like it just gives you your play when you don't have a play. I think it's really great for when Druid is stuck. I mean, Hunter, it is Hunter Druid, yeah. Hunter doesn't really struggle with this because Hunter is either dumping their whole hand or setting up combos. You know, they don't really need. And they have tracking and stuff, which is like a resizing pouch. But Druid, for those turns where you're stuck at like 3-4 mana and your hand is full of your overflow, your 7 mana, 5, whatever. This kind of gives you that out where you can just discover a minion to play on tempo or a spell, etc., etc. So I think it'll find a place in Druid decks for sure as the meta begins to settle. How do you feel?
I think that it will. This is the first card that we've disagreed on. I think this card is great, but I don't think it will ever be drafted unless it's in Arena. And I think the reason for that is because this card is, yes, it's like Zephyrs. It finds you something that you can play right now. But if you're thinking about this in the context of Wild, there's so many bad neutral cards. If you're thinking about this in the context of Standard, there's so many bad neutral cards, or there's so many spells that are good for Druid that are only good in like aggro decks or are only good like I feel like if a Druid is getting to these high numbers, they're also setting up either a combo or just a big threat. So I feel like this is only going to be useful if you discover it off of Nature Studies, because then it's a 0 mana card, and this is busted then because you can get a 10 mana thing. But I think this is never going to be included in your deck, because why put something that you may need late game when you're going to need, because like for example, if you play Zephyrs and your opponent has a full board and you have 10 mana, it'll give you a solution. If you play this on turn 10, you'll get a random 9 mana card when you could really use a 5 mana card or a 6 mana card. And it's like this kind of solution doesn't work out too well when you're looking at the Druid pool of minions, especially in Standard, or the neutral pool of minions, especially in Wild.
Yeah, I completely see your point there. I do feel like we'll have to kind of see how things shake out after the rotation in Standard in terms of this card's viability. I do agree. I was kind of talking about Standard because in Wild, this card is basically like, it's like get like a 2 mana 1/1 or something. Because again, the Wild pool is ridiculous. That's why I don't like to play a whole lot of Discovers. But I guess we kind of disagree on the potential. I think we'll just have to wait and see. Because even if the next expansion is really strong and all the neutrals and Druid stuff is amazing, there's still a higher chance for the low rolls. I'm being a little optimistic here, but I think we can see how it shakes out. But I really like your input.
Guidance, I think that this is a sleeper.
Okay, see, so I've played a little bit with Guidance in duels because they just released that new passive where you can't be overloaded. So this is like, it's like 1 mana generate 2 cards. Overall, it's like when you're losing that third discover option, I would say like I'm not 100% sure. I feel like it is getting slept on to an extent, but it's not like amazing like you always want to be running two. Like now, I guess Druid and Shaman can generate this with like one maker. That's a pretty good hit off of that. Like very good actually. Like probably one of the best hits. But like I feel like it's better in Druid than it is in Shaman, just at the moment. Just because like
that you can finish your point. Sorry.
oh sorry no, yeah, it's just because you look at the Shaman set right now and everything is like kind of like you know it's just like not satisfying like lightning breath, you know, four mana deal four to a minion. Like the Shaman stuff is kind of situational to generate in your hand, like I said, lightning breath or hag scheme, you know, it starts at one. You know, earthquake isn't alright. I mean, landslide is a pretty good hit to get off of this. Guidance actually triggers it activates your landslide because of the overload. But overall, I feel like it'll be much better in Shaman post rotation if Shaman does get some good spells. And right now in Druid, it's pretty unused, which means it's good resource generation. But yeah, I'd like to hear your input.
I think that in Standard, this is going to be super busted after rotation because you have to keep in mind with duels, you don't have Skullomance and Outland, and All Doom, I think, isn't in there either. You don't have those cards in there. And Skullomance, especially for Shaman and Druid, had a lot of really good cards. And same with Darkmoon Fair, but that's counted in there. Like, if you get a Lightning Bloom or an Adorable Infestation or a Nature Studies off of this, or even, like, in some cases, you can get a Survival of the Fittest, and you're like, you know what? I think I could. Like, because I think that it's definitely being slept on in the fact that it's not that good with the large pool of things right now. But I think after rotation it will be an auto include in a lot of standard decks.
I agree with you pretty hard there. Yeah, I think after rotation and the pool is kind of less diluted because it'll only be like 4 expansions in standard after rotation. It'll definitely I think see a surge in play as the classes really want ways to generate whatever strong use spells, you know, the expansion brings and whatnot. So, yeah, definitely. It's sort of like a nature studies almost.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, I think that we should move on to Hunter now.
Yeah.
This will be a quick. I can tell it's going to be a quick talk. By the way, I forgot to mention. Am I the only one that's bothered by the fact that there's not a Dark Moon mini set thing that you can search for when you go to the sets?
Yeah, in your collection, it's like they have this new thing which like new, and it shows you all of them. But it's not like Dark Moon Fair, Dark Moon Races. I get what you mean.
Yeah, because there's dragons and there's Galakron's Awakening, and I thought it'd be the same as that.
Well, I guess they're trying to
have a different card back symbol.
Yeah, they have a different symbol on the card. I think that's just them trying to distinct the adventure, and they're trying to say like the mini set is the expansion, but it's like, you know, later. I guess what they're trying to do. Yeah. But either way, okay. So how do you feel about Yeah, okay. Bola Shot. I'll just run through it kind of quickly. I think it doesn't really have a spot right now, and Hunter lists are just too aggressive. I mean, in standard. Like you already have like a lot of ways. You have like your Adorable Infestations. You have your Scavengers, Ingenuity. You have so many rush minions that I feel like it'll be a bit before this card can really shine. But if they do continue going with more of a control hunter thing, we have had some slower tools like Jewel of N'Zoth, Grand Slam, stuff like that. Guardian Animals, of course. That maybe it can go in, but the current kind of face hunter lists with like, you know, phase stalkers and all your secret and your Rinling's rifle. Yeah. In Wild, I'm also kind of uncertain because Wild Hunter even has even more stuff. You got like your flanking strike, and you have your cat trick. You know, so it's an awkward card. I think after rotation, if they kind of push Hunter a little farther away from aggro and more into like maybe a tempo-ish control type, like, you know, secret thing, that it could you know, less aggressive thing. How do you feel?
I think that this card is never gonna see play, and I think that purely because Grievous Bite already existed, and it's just the same card, just with the numbers flipped, and that card was bad. And just based off of like that meta being very control dominant, because it was like back in Angora when everything was like, I have to kill that frickin' hatchling, or I have to kill that thing before it attacks face and adapts. I have to do everything to kill his minions. Like back then, it was a very control heavy meta, and and like even back then, Hunter was control based, but it was because of rush. It was because they were able to be aggro control.
Yeah, Houndmaster Shaw and eggs and death rattles. Yeah.
Yeah, and even like your lynxes and everything like that. I think that card is not gonna see like any play in standard, because this meta is so aggro dependent, and if they're trying to go for. I appreciate them going for control, but to me this feels like a meme card because it's just the same thing.
I feel like it honestly could have been two damage all around, and that maybe would have pushed it a little bit more. I feel like having the stipulation of like positioning and whatnot kind of makes it awkward. I mean, like I played a lot of control standard Hunter, which was horrible, and I pulled off one game where I went Varanus into the double bola shot to clear their board, and that was one game out of like 20 that I played. So yeah. They would really need to print more Hunter's Mark, Varanus type cards with kind of health reduction and whatnot in order to push this. Yeah. So let's jump to Saddlemaster. This is like the worst card.
This is universal garbage.
Do you remember Ram Wrangler?
So many times.
Yeah. Random beasts are always good. No. This is literally just like what is it? Magic Fin, and Shaman, but kind of in a different situation. They're both, these 3-mana 3/4 value generators, but like, what is like? Okay, let's give your full hand, right? You've got your Wolpertinger and what are the a lot of cheap beasts. It doesn't win you the game. Dropping this and then like a couple 1-drop, 2-drop beasts and filling your hand with random garbage is not going to win you the game. You're never really going to want to play this ever.
Yeah, it's just absolutely terrible,
especially with
especially with beasts.
Yeah, I mean,
I swear, every time I play this, I will get a million silverbacks in hand. That is the only card it will give me. That is the only option.
Or you'll just have your hand filled with like a giant, like a core hound or something. Like it's just not consistent enough. I feel like it could have been something like after you play a beast, discover a beast, and that could have a lot more potential.
Oh yeah, 100%. If that was the case, this would be pretty good. But I think they're moving away from discover a little.
Yeah, they have said they want to do less random, and I applaud them for that. So I don't mind having a bad hunter card when the hunter base set is already like the basic class is already one of the strongest ones out of all the classes. So. Kudos. I'd rather have this than Discover.
And when I look at this card, I think it came out of Grand Tournament. That's all I have to say.
Oh, even the art, it's like totally. All right, what class is next?
Mage.
All right. Okay.
All good cards in my opinion.
Even Glacier Racer.
It turns.
Like, okay.
It turns.
I can see the appeal of I can see the appeal of like Blizzard. For like a 5-mana freeze clear, 5 damage. It's a 7-mana combo. I mean, I guess that would be comparable to a flame. It is a better flame strike, I suppose. I don't know. I feel like it is flexible, and the fact that it also goes face. I mean, I guess Mage does lose Ray of Frost, which is kind of big. I don't know. I think
it's a 4-mana board clear, and it freezes everything else. Because if you use this with Frost Nova, it freezes everything. It deals 3 damage to everything, and it's great because then anything that didn't die is frozen.
And you could theoretically. Okay, yeah. I mean, I think the stat line is what is gonna push it as like probably played. Like all they have to do really is print maybe 1 or 2 more freeze cards, free spells for Mage in the next expansion, and this thing will be a staple. I think there's an underutilized burst potential. I feel like I could see something coming out, especially with Imprisoned Phoenix, which we'll get into in a bit. But I could see imagine 2 Glacial Racers, into like a frostbolt face. You know, that's what, six from the racers, and three from the. That's like 9 damage, right?
Yeah.
For like 4 mana. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like there's a sort of underutilized burst potential with it that probably won't happen because it's such a better, like, it's better as a control tool. But yeah, uh, so in Wild, do you think this will shake out?
I think it could be tossed into Elemental Mage, if that.
Yeah, my main thing was I could see it going in Frostlich Jaina, very value aggro oriented decks. You know, if you can stick your Frost, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try to maybe speed up a tiny bit. Like, these are all really good points.
Yeah.
100 mana biscuit, arguably, like,
Arguably the most overpowered card ever made. 10 out of 10. I will eat the
it
biscuit.
gives you it gives you a lightning bloom on a later turn with no overload. Is what I would compare it to most. It's like a reverse lightning bloom. Sorry, because like lightning bloom, you're paying 0 for 2 more, and you're paying that 2 mana next turn. This one, you're paying the 2 mana this turn for 2 mana next turn. You get what I mean?
Sorta. Just because this card is, yes, it's a reverse lightning bloom, but also it's good to remember it refreshes. It doesn't add mana crystals, so it's used to extend a turn. So instead of like playing a 5 mana card on turn 3, you'll play a 2 mana card and a 3 mana card on turn 3.
Exactly.
Also, it's AFK, so I'm super happy that they brought that back.
Oh yeah, she's great. Yeah, I feel like it opens up a couple maybe possible Exodia Mage builds. Again, Imprisoned Phoenix just opens up so many things. I love it. But yeah, I could definitely see a resurgence. You know, you play, you stick maybe 2 Sorcerer's Apprentices, you play a free Conjure Mana Biscuit, and then you have, you know, net gain 2 mana, and you can like Antonite, I don't know, something like that. We'll have to see how things go, you know?
This card is gonna definitely make its way into Wild and help Quest Mage out even more, even though they don't help.
Oh my. Yeah, that gives them, 2 more spells towards quest completion. That give them mana. Wow, yeah.
And think about it. This is also like the same thing as the Elemental discount. It's just it's just
Oh yeah.
it counts towards your
Right
quest.
now in standard. Yeah, and right now in standard, it's already like it's single-handedly resparking Mana Cyclone Mage, which is like
Yeah.
All right. So let's jump to last Imprisoned Phoenix. I love this card so much. Okay, like
It scares me.
see, like imagine you get like Shaman, right? You play this on 2, you can bloom your other one out, and then 2 turns later, you can play your Ra's Frost Whisper, and he does 5 to your opponent's whole board. You know, it just opens up, or you can landslide away their entire, like, it's just such a, like, amazing, like, oh my gosh. But why does it scare, like, obviously, I can see why it would scare you.
It scares me because someone with a brain that weighs 30 pounds is gonna find a way to make this break the game.
I agree
This
with
is
you there.
essentially a Malagos that you can't deal with.
Yeah, for 2, oh my, that is true.
Because think about it. Think
You
about it.
play
You drop
both
2
of
of these
them,
on
that's
4 on turn.
plus
If you play 2 of these on turn 4, on turn 6, you have 4 spell damage and 6 mana. No, like.
And you have more than 6 mana possibly if you've conjured your Mana Biscuits on earlier turn.
I mean, if you decided to eat the biscuit, then you are essentially like it's good. It's good stats for the cost.
There's no doubt in my mind that there will be some sort of Mage OTK like with this card as a centerpiece. You know, yeah, maybe even possibly.
This could get tossed into the Exodia that already exists with Antonidas and just like make it better.
Yeah, I guess it does offer more consistency, and you can time the dormant so that it lines up with your OTK turn perfect. Yeah, a lot of potential. All right, let's jump to. Let's just do the dual class. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. I don't think
this is a road card.
Yeah, see, Mage just has. Yeah, it's like a critical mass of good 5-drops. You know, Mage has Ra's Frost Whisper. They have Mozaki. They have Jandis. You know, they don't really want to be slotting this in because it's kind of, you know.
But
yeah, this is definitely like it does push Quest Rogue. It gives you 2 cards towards your quest completion. which is like something because Quest Rogue is kind of non-existent right now.
But this is also scary for Quest Mage and Wild.
Oh my, yeah, you are right. That's 2 towards Quest. Oh my god. And
one of them
someone
can
actually
be a
did
0 cost that gives you back 2 minions.
Oh,
with it.
Bloom. Oh my god.
And
Yeah, someone did
play
the
it,
math,
get another
and
one.
someone did the math on all the dual class cards, and they determined that because the pool is so small and there's so many that like a good chunk of the time, one of the cards will be 0 or 1 cost, and so if you play this on 6, you can just get both copies right away, or you can take something like a Gift of Luminance, or like I guess, because the thing is the dual class cards are kind of built around the archetypes for the classes, so like you don't really want to be hitting the guardian animals or like the like I can't really think right off the top of my head. Like I mean I guess most of them are decent hits, but like cutting
Yeah,
class,
just that-
guardian animal, yeah.
There's also the the study Primordial Studies is actually a dual class card too, and that will discover you as spell.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
There's Raise Dead, which is the scariest one.
Oh, that is true. That could really be big for oh yeah.
This could go infinite.
You could grab your Foxy Fraud off of your Raised Dead and then like pull something stupid out. Oh my god.
Also,
well,
Mage,
we'll just
like, this could die, and then you could use Raise Dead, and it will go to
and then get
you
another
get to play it twice,
or you
and
can
get another one.
Or you could play this on
cycle.
8 or so. Yeah, or you could Gift of Luminance it to get another additional copy of the card you took. Well, I guess if you got Gift of Luminance off of it, it would just give you another Gift of Luminance. That's dumb.
Yeah.
But still, a lot of potential.
I'm glad it doesn't discover twice.
Definitely. I'm glad it's just another copy. I'm glad they went with that. I think if they had printed it a little earlier, it would have been Discover Another. I think so.
Mm. Yeah.
All right, so let's move to the next class. What do you think? All right. So, Libram of Judgment is like, I love it so much, but at the same time, I kind of hate it. Okay.
I'm glad you jumped for that right away.
I had to, like, literally, like, nothing stands out as much as, okay, in the perfect world where you're playing both of your Aldor, is it Truthkeeper or Peacekeeper? I can't remember. No, I think it's Truthkeeper. In the perfect world. Yeah, in the perfect world where this thing is discounted by like the full 7, and you just corrupt it with any 1 cost card, and you have the Uther, the Death Knight Uther weapon. I feel like it'll see play, but it doesn't incentivize any form of Paladin deck to play Yasharaj enough, you know?
Yeah, I don't think this is a push for Yasharaj, but I see this card alone carrying Libram Paladin into Wild.
I think there's potential, especially because Libram Paladin doesn't have any weapons besides the one you get off of the board clear Libram. You could use your Horde Pillager to reliably re-equip a 5/3 lifesteal, which is dangerous, very scary to me.
Well, not just that, but also it's a heal 15, it's a deal 15 damage. In a lot of cases, it'll cost like 3 or less, and there's no counter to it because it's not a spell like the other ones. It's a weapon. Nothing can really stop you from equipping it.
Well, I feel like every deck in Wild right now is kind of just playing, oozes and sticky fingers, like at least 1 copy of each. But I mean that is a bit of a far stretch, But and this isn't even bad uncorrupted. You're equipping an Ashbringer basically, which is like
it's so
it's
good.
not the worst part.
So scary.
Yeah, it's I want it to be good. Like my Paladin playing side wants it to be good, and then my other side of like control and everything kind of doesn't want it to happen. We'll see. I think it'll definitely find its place.
Yeah. Rally.
I don't. Okay, I like that it's giving Paladin. Okay, because like I hate all forms of Resurrect. Okay, as a standard and Wild player, Resurrect is my least favorite mechanic by a long shot. And this does give like priests in Wild. In standard there are already lists that are popping up that are using it to revive a Sethek Spellweaver and a Nazmani Bloodweaver. Bloodweaver, yeah, and your Reliquary of Soulworth. And that's just awful.
You know,
I mean,
was
that's one
thinking
of
this
the.
would actually be best in Paladin because this is going to be good for Guy's Paladin because you can resurrect the buff one health minions to have +1/+2, and you can resurrect a random Silverhand recruit, and you can also resurrect some random 2 cost that you use.
Yeah, I was thinking for Paladin, you could be resurrecting, probably like the Silverhand recruit and your McGurgle and like a Goody Two Shield, like optimally, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, people really are seeing it in more Paladin light, but the Priest light side, or whatever you want to say, is a little scarier to me. I feel like it's not enough to continue to push Res Paladin after Maz Resurrect and Vorgoth are gone. But I mean, you can also use it to revive your Corrupted Fairground Fool, which is a 4/7 taunt for 3 mana.
Yes.
So there's definitely a good chunk of potential in both classes. Likely not enough for it to be played in any wild decks, but will probably be a pretty nice tool for standard in the year to come.
Yeah. Barricade.
All right, okay, Serenite Chain Game.
It's
Like
better than
that's how I
Silent
feel.
Chain Gain, actually.
Well, yeah. It really does help your both your big warrior and your recruit / I don't know, like dual, paladin, because it does give you, I guess, you get 4/6 in stats. Is it 4? 2/4s, right?
It's 4/8 in stats.
Right, for 4 mana, and it can't be. You can't risk pulling it with your commencement or your duel or like dimensional ripper or whatever. So I feel like it only fits into those. Because like it's what's the word? Antithetical, is that the word? To the paladin design. So you hero power, you can't play this, or else you're just paying 4 mana for 2/4. So I mean, how do you feel about it? I'd like to hear your thoughts.
I like how it's anti-aggro. There's not that many anti-aggro cards nowadays. This is definitely a good anti-aggro card. I do think that it feels antiquated.
I feel like they could have pushed the stats a bit. I agree.
This could have been a 3-cost card.
I kind of disagree with you there because turn 4 is kind of like a paladin on turn 4 against aggro usually just wants the consecration. This gives them an alternative if they don't have it, or if getting 2 taunts is better than that. But I feel like at 3, this kind of just becomes an auto include in any warrior deck because you just clear your opponent's stuff with your sword and board, or and you just get like your big 4/8 taunts on turn 3. Like, I think it would be too scary at 3. I honestly kind of like it at 4, and that's just me.
I think the reason why I would like it at 3 is because of the stats. Because I feel like the stats could be better, but this feels so bad if the condition isn't met. A 4 mana 2/4 taunt is so bad. It hurts so much, and honestly, that's like a game-losing condition. Like if you're gonna play this without the conditions met, it's because you're gonna die.
You're losing the game.
Yeah.
Okay, but let me explain this. Okay, Blood Warrior with a 3 mana 4/8 taunt.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I mean that's literally problem. That's literally the only reason I wouldn't. Because Odd Paladin never runs this because they always have a board any turn. But like this at 3, like I just don't want it to happen if it's going to be part warrior.
Okay. Well, how about
I
this?
feel like
this? +1/+1.
Yeah, I think that would be good because in the base you're getting Ascension Shieldmaster, and that's pretty strong. I mean, 4 mana 6 10 taunt split between 2 bot. Like it's a little pushing it, but I feel like the decks this is fitting in are already so low that this wouldn't even make them broken. They'd maybe become like tier 2 or so at best. Interestingly enough, this fits pretty nicely into a wild big paladin warrior as well, because the only issue with the big warrior and wild is you have your Woe Cleaver, you have your 6 mana recruit spell, you have everything, you have your minion control, but you just don't have any minions. So if you get unlucky and you're not top picking your Warpaths and your Coerces and whatnot, you're kind of screwed against any aggro. So I feel like you could probably get away with
Bomb Warrior.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. I feel like with Bomb Warrior you always have like, you have maybe like a risky skipper out or a Blastmaster. No, I can see this working in Bomb Warrior probably. On a turn that you just want to play a Wrench Caliber and then protect yourself. Yeah.
Because aggro is a big thing for Bomb Warrior. That's the only counter to Bomb Warrior's aggro. And Priest.
Definitely. Next class.
And well, do we want to even?
So wait, it's still
Prison Celestial or?
Yeah, it doesn't deserve. Okay, I will say this for it at least. Okay, it's clear that they were trying.
They know,
but
I think this is like what Dormant should have been.
I mean, the thing is, it was a little overhyped when they first revealed it because they're like, "Oh my god, Righteousness is a 5-mana." I mean, this is basically a 3-mana 4/5 Divine Shield, which is pretty good, to be fair. All right?
Mm-hmm.
And on average, with the Paladin deck, you probably have a minion or two on board on turn 5 or so. But then, like, when it whiffs, it just whiffs too hard for you to justify running it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I can maybe see, like, I guess, like, if you see it as just 3-mana 4/5 Divine Shield, dormant for 2 turns, it's not completely unplayable. I'm thinking of kind of maybe a Libram style, you just want to have a lot of... yeah, you could play... I don't know. We'll have to see how this shakes out. I'm kind of uncertain about the future of this card.
Some big brain guy will find a cool spot for it, but...
Blood Knight OTK.
Blood Knight. Okay, alright, let's go to the Forbidden class next, Priest.
Oh my god. Okay. Dark Inquisitor Zylash is kind of just the culmination of why I don't like Corrupt. Because you're basically spending your turn 5 to play 3/5, and then lower the cost of cards, which you then also have to corrupt on top of that by playing more cards.
Yeah. Well, when this came out, I thought, this is so broken, and then I went, oh no, wait, it's a not neutral.
Exactly, I know, that was my exact thought. If this was neutral, I would have loved it to be neutral, It's like a Yashiraj. It would be like, it would be to Yashiraj what Kronx is to Gallifrey. Yeah. But in Priest specifically, I actually tried to make this work just yesterday. All right, Highlander Priest. Okay, and it performed not terribly. Okay, the deck pretty much is like, you got your basic control Priest shell. You have like Erase Dead, your Zephrys, Wave of Apathy, Penance, Breath of the Infinite. I toyed with Wave of Apathy. Your basic early game stuff. It runs one of every corrupt card. So Fairground Fool, Insight, Fleet Hoof, 5-mana 4/4 Wrench, that one. Healer, Clown. And to be fair, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't any better than the basic corrupt focused Highlander Priest, which is kind of how I would sum up this card.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people gave it like 4 or 5 stars, and I was like, "What are you talking about, Regis?" But in general,
Regis.
But in general, I think this is like a 2-star card forever.
Maybe 3 at best if you get really lucky. See, I love Regis, but he's too nice.
He's too sweet.
That's why I listen to Zeddy. Oh, don't even get... No, I mean, Regis is like, he sees what the team is going for, and so he really... Well, whatever. I don't want to really get into that too much now, because we're already kind of behind you to get to. Lightsteed, what do you think? I'll let you start off on this one.
Absolute garbage. I think that if this card ever... this is like the... okay, wait, hold on. High Priest of Met already is out of the meta, and it's still in standard. Why do you think Lightspeed is going to be good? Like,
Inner Fire, come on, man.
Inner Fire, come on, guys.
Listen. What are you gonna... Lightsteed. Wait. Okay, hear me. All right. OTK deck. Okay, you got your Lightsteed. 2 Lightsteeds out. Okay, and then you double Circle of Healing, and then you I don't know. Wait, Inner Fire. It's so stupid. If it wasn't symmetrical, it would probably be a little better. I mean, it's a good stat line, but like the fact that if you Wave of Healing with this, you're also buffing your opponent, which is what kind of kills it, in my opinion.
There should be an effect on a stick, not like a stick with an effect. Like this should be like a 1-mana card with like a 1/2 health, and
I agree.
effectively playable then. But right now, like committing 4 mana is like this is a late game thing, and why are you trying to give
Yeah.
your minions health late game? You could.
I mean,
like,
there's a
what
theory.
would you
They're
rather-
theorizing. What I mean, on turn 4 with Priest, usually I want to be Holy Nova, Ing, or like, I don't know, invoking Galakron. But like I was saying, people were saying on Reddit where I was reading all the reveals, like maybe this is like leading into like they're gonna do stuff with Priest, and they're gonna do like inner fire type stuff that goes off of health instead of attack. And I was like,
I think the only
Yeah.
thing that they need to do for Priest is introduce a graveyard, but that's a different discussion.
yeah, a huge discussion that could take up a whole episode on its own, probably. Okay, so that's all
We'll
the.
talk after we'll talk off the stream about that.
Yes, 100%. So we already covered Rally, so that's all the Priest.
Yeah, we talked about Rally.
Sorry, no. Yeah.
Hysteria.
Okay, this is already. I don't really want to get into. Okay, I'm going to judge it outside of. It's already broken the game in Wild. We've established that. So let's just focus on the standard side. I don't think it's good in standard at all.
I think that this is a good replacement for Shadow Word Death.
You think so? Wait, Shadow of Death is 2 mana kill of 5 cost or higher, right?
Yeah, instead you can make it kill at neighbors.
Well, I feel like it's a good comeback card where if your opponent has some mid-sized stuff on board, you can just Hysteria their stuff away. That's good. But I don't know. We'll have to see what kind of minions get printed next expansion. Like I said, like we've been saying for a lot of stuff. I see it more as like you're paying 3 mana for the Deathwing Battle Cry, and you can give it to any minion to be fair. But like you could see it also as like you play like maybe a big minion that normally. Wait a minute, it's Silence Priest bait because you can play your 3 mana 5/6 can't attack, and then Hysteria is.
Yeah. Or you can play like your good Death Rattle minion and then make it kill things and then trigger the Death Rattle.
That's valid, yeah. Yeah, I guess so actually. And on the Warlock side too.
So many things. It's so flexible.
On the Warlock, yeah. I mean, it's definitely just a good removal tool. I think it's good that they put it at 3. I think at 2 this would have been horrifying.
Well, let's think.
I think
as
it's
long as
pretty-
palm reading exists, this is going to be 2 costs in this situation.
That is true. But seeing it from the Warlock side as well, I don't know. This could be good where it's like you have a lot of I don't know. I don't know about Warlock. Zoolock is like the big deck, and you don't want to be paying 3 mana so your opponent has a chance of clearing everything on your turn. You know, I don't know. This could be a good potential comeback card for Zoolock, where it's like if you lose the board, you can force your opponent to lose theirs too. Something like that. I'm not sure. But let's just jump on because we still have a couple of classic left.
Okay,
You want? Is it Rogue next?
Rogue's next.
Okay. Shenanigans overrated. I think there's just too much room for counterplay.
You know,
Like-
there's actually a big thing for Shenanigans that I've been thinking about. And this actually
What do you
is a good
think?
way for... I think this is a great way for Mill Rogue and Wild to come back a little
Oh no.
Destroy
wait,
what
if-
you
wait a
draw
minute, wait a
and
minute. Hold
and
my-
destroy your draws.
Well, I mean, it only applies to the. So even if you do this into like a Cold Light brand, that's only the first card out of like the 4 that is going to be transmogrified. But then again, you are killing 1 full extra draw into a banana, which is
And you don't even
okay.
have to
I can see the.
You don't even have to Cold Light brand. You could just play Cold Light, or you can toss this in with the new Murloc that draws cards, the Ticket Muncher or something.
Prize vendor, yeah, 2 mana, 2
Prize
throw.
vendor. Yeah.
See, does this this could apply to your opponent? Like if you just played this and then you played a Cold Light with nothing, the second card, like, is this the first secret that you can trigger on your opponent's turn? On your turn, I mean.
Yeah, because it doesn't say on their turn. It says when your opponent draws their second card in a turn.
Pretty interesting. 'Cause every secret. Well, I guess they've already done that because Open the Cages does trigger at the beginning of your turn if it's off. So I guess they did set the precedent for.
Well, not just that, but also the Paladin secret
Rigged
where it
figure.
buffs your board.
Oh, and it's like competitive spirit. Yeah, I guess there is a sort of precedent for secrets on your turn. I'll give you that. So
And,
yeah,
the
in
secret for
standard
mage.
though. Oh yeah, that is true. In standard though, I don't know if it'll really see play. Maybe off of like Hanar and stuff like that. I don't know.
Well, I think it might just get tossed like one copy of it into a secret rogue, because Sparkjoy Cheat, the
Yeah.
second one that we'll talk about, is so nice for
Oh
secret
my God.
rogue, but I don't think I'll see it in wild.
Workjoy cheat. I hate it. I just hate it so much. It's 3 mana. Okay, so if you subtract the cost of the secret from it, it's basically like you're paying 1 more mana for a 3/3 and card draw. That's stupid.
I think what you should say is, if we remove the cost of the secret and the cost of drawing a card, this is -1/3/3.
Exactly. It's like Cabal Crystal Runner. And see,
better.
I don't know. Yeah. Do you follow Jay Alexander?
No.
Well, he's like a rogue player. I follow him somewhat. What he was saying that it's not going to be that good. He compared it to Ash. What's the name of it? It's 3 mana 3/3 epic. It's like Ash Tongue Sage or something. It's like 3 mana 3/3. If you control stealth minion, draw 2 cards. He was talking about how people overvalue value, but this isn't overvalued at all. Like getting your secret out for free and drawing, because the big thing about playing secrets is you lose card advantage. And the big reason why Secret Mage is so strong in Wild is that you have so many draw effects that losing the card advantage of playing a secret doesn't matter. This negates the card draw, disadvantage of playing your secret, and gives you a body. Like, I think this will be a 2 of, alongside the already pretty decent secret package with Hanar and Blackjack Stunner, definitely.
Yeah. It's gonna be Nitro Boost is just broken, and we can agree on that. It's just a version of the
Tinker's Sharpsword Oil.
Yeah, that's right. Tinker's Sharpsword Oil.
And I think that corrupting it in because I talked earlier about Odd Rogue, I'm not 100%. Sorry, I'm not 100% sure if this will really find a spot in Odd Rogue, because you have to corrupt it by playing a 3-cost card, which is kind of awkward. But in Kingsbane Rogue, this easily replaces Deadly Poison, I think.
Well, not just replaces; it just is in there with it. It's just.
You think? Well, actually,
preparation.
Yeah, you could run both. I'm being too. God, I just don't like Kingsbane at all. It's like, at least we have what is it called? Sticky Finger now.
Does this the real question though? Does this see play in Warrior?
I think there's potential. Like, the cleave weapon they have, right? It's a 4 mana 4/2, but if you can corrupt this with the weapon, and then on turn 5 you have a 5 damage cleave. Granted, you have to like smack your face into a minion to trigger it, but I think and you do have Krastenov too. I don't know. I feel like Warrior and Cutting Class. We'll have to see, because right now the Warrior kit is kind of dominated by Ankar and the whole pirate package. So I think that maybe it's like simultaneously aggressive and control based weapon Warrior could come out if they maybe print 1 or 2 new Warrior weapons for the class. We'll see.
So I think we go into Shaman now.
Yeah, and there's only a few more, Shaman, Warlock, and Warrior left, and then neutral. So
we already talked about neutral.
Oh, sorry, no, we did. Yeah. Except for we didn't cover a few, but it's fine. We'll just go
and Blackwing, but we'll get to it.
Of course,
so,
yeah. Landslide
first.
I really love it. We've already talked about. I talked about a fair amount earlier when we were talking about other stuff, but with Shaman losing their biggest things in Hagatha scheme, and Earthquake, I think having this card alongside how it doubled it, because it's not just 2 mana deal 1, and then if you're overloaded deal 2 instead. No, it's deal 1 twice, which means you can double dip this with spell damage, and with all the spell damage, and it's not even a symmetrical effect. So I feel like Shaman will just really love this, especially post rotation. and I could even maybe see it in even Shaman and Wild alongside Maelstrom Portal maybe.
I think that this fits really nicely into even Shaman and Wild really well.
I agree.
I don't think even Shaman is seen that often, but I think that it fits so nicely, especially with like the totem package too, where there's like the overload totem.
Oh yeah, you have yeah.
Yeah, like things like that. It works out so well, and then you have spell damage totems and all that. I think this is nice.
I agree.
Now,
Mistral.
I think now hear me out. It's
okay.
Instead of it being a 5-mana 4/4 battlecry, give a friendly minion +3/+3 and overload 1. It's a 4-mana, and instead of giving a minion +3/+3, it already has the +3/+3 on it, and we give it overload 2, so that way it's not broken.
So you're describing a 4-mana 7 that's completely absurd. I would never want to ever see that printed anywhere. Okay. Jokes. It's just dumb. Jokes aside, I can see this in maybe Shudderwalk Shaman. Like Shudderwalk Shaman right now, it's kind of like just I don't know. It can help you. Not 100% sure. I honestly haven't seen this played at all, and I haven't played it at all yet. I mean, right now it fits into Quest Shaman pretty nicely because you can kind of buff up your Battlecry cards, which are usually understated because they have their good Battlecries, you know? And, I don't know. I think 5-mana 4/4 and +3/+3 on a minion is very generous. The Overload 1 isn't that big. I don't know. I think it'll find a place somewhere. Maybe if they print more Overload support, because we do lose pretty much all of it after rotation.
I like this card. I don't think it's going to see that much play, but I like this card.
Yeah. That's how I feel about a lot of things, to be fair. So, reasonable opinion there.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, Warlock. All right, Backfire, I just see it as like, yes, we need more Dark Lair. Oh, no.
Backfire scares me so much because this is the perfect draw card for any aggro deck, especially for Warlock. Because the downside of taking 3 damage for drawing 3 cards is so minimal.
Negligible.
Unless it's actually an upside.
Yeah,
of it
exactly.
being damage.
Like I hate it. Like I wish it had gone. I wish like why couldn't this have been like I don't know. Like a class that needs draw. Warlock does not need more draw and more stealth damage. Like, honestly.
I think it's good, though. There's one thing I thought about it. I think that it's good that they're kind of defining Warlock as a class that damages itself and draws a lot of cards. I think that they're finally like putting that out there.
They're
like,
solidifying the identity.
Does. Yeah, they're giving Warlock an identity. Because in the past, it was like, oh, we're big minions, we're death rattles, we're resurrect, we're demons, we're zoo.
Yeah.
And now it's like, listen, they're this.
Yeah, you can tell that the Hearthstone design team has been kind of working on making sure identities are clear. Like you see the priest rework they did and everything. Like they're definitely putting that effort in, kind of defining it. Like Libram, a paladin with the pure, the whole archetype. Like I really like that as a concept.
Yeah, me too. I really like the idea that that's also something that's not like a set specific because it's not a keyword.
Exactly.
So Librams can be introduced later on.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I think that would be great.
Yeah, I feel like support. True. All right, how do you feel about Envoy or Rustwood?
This card scares me to my core.
See, I love it so much because you're giving your Warlocks a fairly big demon with a death rattle, so you can revive it with like your Counterthought Prime. You can get Counterthought Prime off of this and then revive it with it, theoretically going infinite.
That's why
there's a fair amount
cards that have infinite value.
But the thing is, it's delayed. Like you have to draw them, and you could possibly whiff.
This reminds me of Jade Idol, but bigger.
See, I was looking at it in the vein of Wild. I was thinking, could this fit into Q Block? And the answer for most people is no, because with Q Block, you only really want to be, your Enhanced Dreadlord, your Void Lord, and your Mal'Ganis. But I'm like, I don't know, like, because you can also pull this with your N'Zoth in Wild, so it gives you another thing. Like, I don't know. I feel like it has potential.
I've seen people making some really busted decks using Quest Lock, and making it so you draw the primes and they're 0 cost, and it just seems so busted.
That does kind of scare me. I think the only miss,
consistent too.
all the primes are really good. I think the only misses, like, and these are kind of like Vashj and Akama are kind of the only ones that you kind of actively don't want to be getting. But I mean, even Akama Prime is like not terrible.
Even then, Vashj, it draws you spells, but if your deck's empty, it's not going to draw you cards.
Exactly.
I think
ideally,
the one that I don't like the most is what I'm forgetting, the Hunter.
Zixor.
Zixor. Yeah.
Zixor. You don't like Zixor Prime?
I think it's not good if you're using a bunch of minions on your board like you would in Warlock.
Yeah, I can see why you would say that, but at the same time, you got to see it as like almost like a Twisting Nether type thing where you're paying 8 mana to kind of clear your opponent's board there. So I mean,
also the mage one, I'm on the fence about.
Solarian. Yeah, I think getting a Solarian off of this is absurd. And my biggest concern. What's up?
Might be bad.
You really think so?
Because it's a demon, so it ruins the resummon pool.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is like a 1 in like 8 chance to hit. But I mean, it is 3 different cards, so the statistic is much probably higher than that. But yeah, I agree that you'd probably just want to save Solarian Prime until after you've done all your res effects in that case.
Oh, yeah.
I think Kargath Prime is a really scary thing to pull off of this. Like,
well, you get a guarantee,
especially when you have your lifesteal hero power as Warlock, you're gaining your armor, and when your health is low, you can continue to lifesteal your health back up with your armor protecting you. You get what I mean? So it's like,
yeah, it's all terrifying. I think that this card will do scary things in the future, but
definitely.
I think it's more on the wild side. It's scarier.
Yeah.
But even in standard, it can do big things.
Yeah. And the fatigue protection is something that, fatigue protection. That's a big part of it that I like. Anyways, moving on. Warrior.
So
both of these.
Wheel.
Odd Warrior.
Not even just Odd Warrior. It's just so freaking strong and standard.
You just equip this on 1, hero power on 2, and you have a fiery war axe.
I think that they forget that you can also play Corsair Cash, and this gets drawn from your deck, and it's a 1 mana 3/3.
Corsair Cash, didn't that get nerfed? So it's only +1 durability.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's a 1 mana 3/3.
Oh, right. I see what you mean. And on top of it, it's not like this has 3 attack. It has +3. So if you buff it somehow with your like, I don't know, Gelbin Mechatork, you're never going to be playing that. But like a Dr. Krasnov or something, then this thing is just +3 attack. Exactly, that becomes +3 attack on top of whatever buff you apply to it. It's like some scary potential. Like
it's a huge problem to me, but it's like one of those things where it's a problem, but it's not gonna be meta defining.
See, that's when you say it's a problem, but everything else is so problematic that you can't tell.
If everyone's super,
if everyone's broken, no one is. All right. Well, let's get through the last couple of cards so we can move on, because there's actually, I'm pretty sure there's more questions. All right, quickly. All right.
Oh yeah, because we destroyed Legionator's mind.
Yeah, y'all have sufficiently overwhelmed me with this knowledge.
Oh, right. Okay, so Ironclad, right? I think it's good. I think it will, like, in its base state, 3 mana, Bomb Warrior, exactly. 3 mana 2/4 isn't horrible. 3 mana 4/6 is stupid. And you could also, I can see this being slot into Odd Warrior as well.
Yeah, Odd Warrior and is perfect.
After you've played your Dr. Boom, you're kind of generating mechs. You can just play this for some big raw stats in the late game.
I was doing a duels run last night, and I got 10
Yep.
wins with Warrior, and it was thanks to the double battle cry, and I was shuffling. So
Oh.
first things first, I was using Ironclad with bomb
Yeah.
with bomb armor Warrior, and this thing became a 3-mana 6/8, and I would then I would also play the treasure, the new treasure, and I would shuffle 12 bombs into the opponent's deck, gain 10 armor, and it was so cancer. It was so fun.
I probably would hate you if I played you on that run. Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, and I feel like you could probably also be running this in your Menagerie Warrior. I'm pretty sure the only
'cause
deck...
you can proc it out with multiple ways, buff it with that new weapon.
Exactly. It contributes to your Tent Trasher as well in hand, I think. Or no, it's on board.
Yeah,
I forget.
It contributes.
Yeah.
I think Tent Trasher's not that good, but I think he's like good in that one instance.
Yeah.
5-mana
I think this
5/5
could probably just
rush
easily...
isn't bad. You know?
Yeah. I think this could easily just replace Bumper Car in your Menagerie Warrior decks in Standard right now.
Easily.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just run through...
Neutral the last
covered everything.
The last two cards.
So, right.
All right. Death Warden. I really like that there's a proc card for Death Rattles now.
I really do as well. With the Prime Legendaries, Librams. There's a lot of Death Rattles running around right now. So I think printing this at this point is really nice. It's got great stats. Dropping this on 3 is often probably a good play. You could even combo this. You play this on 3, and then you remove your opponent's Libram, and they have nothing. It's really satisfying.
You see, what I've been thinking about is imagine doing this. Imagine.
All right.
I don't know how the interaction would work, but let's say you play Death Warden, then you play Risky Skipper, then you play Bear Off, and you clear board. Do the Death Rattles not trigger?
Well, actually, yeah, I was reading. It would trigger because the Death Warden is dying as the thing is resolving. So it's dead before the Death Rattle triggers because the board is... Yeah, because it's a symmetrical clear. Yeah, so that... Theoretically... I mean, yeah, I see this as a tool to kind of get rid of primes, get rid of Librams. In Wild, this thing just... Q-Block is crying in a corner.
I just want to see this reliably work against a class like... A thing like Q-Block, you know?
So do I.
Because I think that this is really good. I think if it had 1 less health and it was 2 cost, it'd be really good. But I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, it's about on par with the other. Like, the only other direct counter is the battle cries cost 2 more. It's from Naxxramas, and that card is
Well, no. There's the it's the Boom Pistol Bully. The battle cries cost 5 more, and
there's two types actually.
And there's the Naxxramas active effect, which is battle cries cost 2 more. Yeah.
And it's 2 mana 1/4. Yeah. So I would say it's about on par with the other complete tech cards. So I look forward to seeing how this shakes out. Blackwing, run away.
Oh, this
Sorry,
card
no.
is.
Give me your thoughts. Do you have anything on Death Warden?
Card?
Or no?
Yeah. Oh, Death Warden. Just I wish it was a battle cry. I hate Death Rattles
for the rest of the game.
Just for the rest of the game, Death Rattles can't trigger.
Well, I could theoretically see that on a legendary, maybe like a 5 or 6 cost.
That'd be a cool quest. Like a new.
That would. Like a passive hero, maybe. Yeah. All right, Runaway Blackwing. Funny story. Okay. The XR, the main dev, already confirmed that this card will just never show up in Arena ever. They already removed it.
Oh, really? Weird.
It's like Ragnaros, but arguably better and worse in some ways, depending how you're looking at it. You get what I mean?
I think that this card is really good for Evolve Shaman.
Oh, I agree. Evolving into this is probably one of the best 9-drop hits. But at the same time, whenever a really big minion like this gets printed, I'm always I don't really see it as problematic because removal is just so efficient in both wild and standard that you can't really stick something for like, you know what I mean? Like, you pretty much have to cheat things out. Like, I could feasibly see one copy of this being run in like a dual pattern list, or maybe even a big warrior list, possibly.
Yeah.
Might be pushing it.
If you
But
can
I
cheat
think
this out
that
of your deck, it's really good.
I like the dragon synergy. I could see maybe druids playing this, like Breath of Dreams. You can like ramp into this pretty nicely with like an overgrowth, where you can like, I don't know, not too. I mean, what's the 4-mana 5/4 that lowers the cost of dragons?
4-mana 5/4. I thought
Frizz
Yeah,
Kindle.
it is a 5/4. Yeah. Fritz.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Dragons in general haven't really been a thing outside of Druid. I mean, I guess Mage to a extent and Warrior still runs Deathwing, but I don't know. Maybe this could be like if you discount it, it's like a 7-mana 9/9. I don't know. We'll have to see how things.
All I can
shake
say
out.
is I'm gonna toss Moonfang and Runaway Blackwing. Stupid Ungoro quest druid.
Wait a minute. Runaway Blackwing only does 1 damage to Moonfang
Oh yeah.
with its effect. That's pretty dumb. Okay, so that's the entire set, I
The
believe.
entire set.
So,
we
Let's
have melted the brain of
let's-
Legionator.
Yeah,
All right,
that is the most thorough possible answer to that question and that topic that I think anybody
sorry.
could have expected. So basically, anybody who is here for that, congratulations! You absolutely got your fill. You got what you came here for.
I'm sorry that we spent pretty much an hour on just 35 cards.
Well, there's a lot to discuss there. That's fine. I would have interjected in there, but I mean, like I said, I'm a complete novice at this game. I don't really know anything about it. I need to call my dad because I vividly remember there was this moment where my brother and I were talking about Pokemon and throwing all these words back, and we're with full confidence. And my dad was just like, "Man, I don't know what y'all are saying, but I really enjoy that y'all are like conversing so excitedly about something together. It's just very nice to listen to." And I need to call and be like, "Dad, I just had that exact moment." It's
All right.
good. It's always nice to hear people with such passion about something get to discuss it and talk about it. And you actually, the next question did get partially covered a little bit in there, but y'all can just glean over if there are any major things that didn't get addressed. The next thing, what do you think needs to change in Hearthstone?
Okay, so that's another question I could easily go into several hours, but I'm going to bring...
Keep it quick.
do you mind if I just start off, Fate? You good with that? I'm fine with you going
Go
first.
off.
Okay, so there are it's a few things. I don't know if okay. One of my biggest points really is cost of the game. Okay, we talked for a bit about how the mini set was a great stride forward in making things more accessible to players, because 2K Gold is decently trivial if you're just logging in every day and playing the game and whatnot. But the thing is, it's still like a pretty dumb amount of packs left open. Like, if you buy both pre-orders of an expansion, that's like on average 130, $140, and that's like, again, that's 130 or 145-ish packs, and that still doesn't guarantee you a full expansion. You'll still be missing a fair amount of legendaries. And if you want to play Wild and you've never played like at all and you're brand new, it's a pretty steep cost to be getting into Wild as well. For the most part, Hearthstone has been pretty good at helping newer players with things like you get a free starting deck with legendaries and epics and stuff that you can completely like disenchant and make into whatever you want. But at the same time, the mini sets being introduced kind of adds another cost, because while you can get all cards, 66 of them, for 2K Gold, that's 2,000 gold that you can't be saving up for the next expansion. So I feel like there's a lot more competitors on the market out there right now. There's Gwent, there's Magic the Gathering Arena is coming to mobile. I think it might already be on. I'm not 100% sure. You have Legends of Runeterra. And obviously Hearthstone has like veteran status over all of these, and it has the largest player base. But the way that these games accommodate free-to-plays and stuff is very appealing. I personally play Legends of Runeterra alongside Hearthstone. I play Hearthstone more, obviously. But so yeah, I feel like economy changes could be nice. Maybe make cards disenchant for 1/2 of their value instead of 1/4, or make wild cards cheaper to craft, and you get less dust from dusting them, so that people are more incentivized to play the mode. Maybe increase the amount of like events, increase rank rewards. There's a lot of things they could be doing, they kind of haven't, and things just haven't changed really economy wise. Besides this mini set thing, for so long time that I feel like certain players are starting to kind of get disenfranchised in a way. What are your thoughts on this, Fate?
I actually made a rant about this on Discord, not on Discord, sorry, on Reddit, and that's actually how I got noticed and brought onto this podcast. But yeah, so essentially, I actually pulled up my rant because what I did was I broke it down into 3 segments of the problems with the current system of the game, and I objectively looked at them. I brought up why they were dated, why they were issues, why they were problematic, and what would be a way to fix that. And I think the 3 main talking points I had were the game's too expensive, it's too hard to be free to play, and the arcane dust system. And I think that
Yes.
A lot of people thought that my first 2 points were very similar in saying that the game is too expensive and that it's too hard to be free to play. But in reality, they couldn't be further apart. And that's because it's not the fact that people have to spend so much on the game. It's the fact that the game costs so much in general. Because
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous that the cost of a pack is worth $1.50 in US.
I genuinely, that is something I also. I mean, it was a while back when the battle pass was in its infancy. You probably know the kind of storm that was going on back then. But what I wrote about back then was about how the Hearthstone does this thing called anchoring, where they put something at its price, right? So that when they do put bundles and whatnot, and you get your rate at like 1 pack for $1, everybody's like, "Oh my god, that's such good value!" It's not really.
No,
You get what I mean?
I think
Exactly.
a digital card game should be 50 cents per pack. Honestly, that would fix the
I feel
games.
Yeah. I feel like Blizzard has kind of gotten away with all the things it has because it's been around so long, and that's kind of the base. But sorry, I cut you off. What were you going to say?
Thank you. And I think that we definitely agree on this. And I think that the $80 bundles should be the exact same thing that they are, but for $30 to $40. And the reason for that is, first things first, the $80 bundles are, first of all, so exclusive that only the 1% of the player base can do that. So I don't understand why they make it cheaper so that way it reaches a larger audience. I think that if you have 10 people and one of them buys an $80 bundle, you're making $80. But if you have 10 people and let's say 4 or 5 of them buy a $30 or $40 bundle, you're already making more money. Like, I don't understand, like, it's so premium priced. Like, for the price that I would pay to get the pre-orders, I could have gotten another game, I could have gotten another game, I could have gotten the season pass, and I could have spent like $30 more on the game. Like, that's the issue.
No, I completely agree. I think it's shameful that the new Battle Pass didn't even come with the full $80 pre-order of the expansion that the Battle Pass was in.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably bundle it in for the next one. But what you were saying about the $80 with like one person, that actually leads into something I was reading earlier about how. So you were around for Rastakon's Rumble, obviously. That was actually one of the cheapest pre-orders. Remember, one of them was $50, 50 packs, and the card back, and Rastakon, and the smaller one was only $20, right? Well, a while back, someone ran a poll on like pre-orders and stuff, and they found that so many more people bought the Rastakon's Rumble pre-orders compared to the other ones. Like it was, like literally like 100 or so more people. But the thing is, overall, it was more money for Blizzard for 50 people to be spending, $80 than for 150 people to be spending 20 to 50. So, in a way, that's kind of Blizzard's MO. They just want to make, whatever they can. So I feel like
if you take $100 from if you take $100 from 100,000 people, you'll end up with $1 million. But if you take $1 from 20 million people, then you'll have $2 million. Like,
exactly. I feel like
you get
if they did
money
the initial
out of pleasing your community.
That's exactly how I feel. I feel like if they took that initial hit, because obviously if they released the next expansion pre-order for like $40, then they would make less on average. But I feel like if they just took that hit and continue to do them at that price range, 40 to 50-ish, that overall players would be happier and they'd be getting more pre-orders. And so in the long term, it would be healthier for the game's income.
Oh, yeah. And the other point that I had in my big rant was that it was too hard to be free to play. And I think that what I meant when I said that goes outside of how much you're spending on the game, if you are spending money, because that was the first issue. It's not just you're spending money, it's the amount of money that you have to spend if you are spending money.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the issue with the free-to-play part of the game we're in right now is that with microtransactions are a way to help people get ahead of the curve or have cosmetics. But with the way it is, microtransactions are simply the only way to even be on curve, and it also is keeping players from playing the game as intended, where they get to try out multiple decks or play the game for fun. And
I completely agree.
The arcane system, because the arcane dust system is so corrupt. Because it's built around the concept that you make cards one card at a time, but
it's built on the concept that you have to destroy large chunks of your collection just to play like a few things. Exactly. Yeah.
I think that this arcane dust system should be built around the idea that instead of making one card at a time, you make one deck at a time. And I think that's the best thing. And when I say that, I don't mean you craft a deck, like you click a button and you craft a deck. Yeah. What I mean is what, like your suggestion of make it so that arcane dust instead of being 4-1, it's 2-1. I think that would really improve it that way, because that way it would be 16,000 to make a legendary, 800 to dust it. One legendary dusted can make 2 epics, 8 rares, or 20 common. That's the way it should.
I would love that. The way that it is now is, I mean, I'm just saying this for anyone that doesn't play Hearthstone, and for Luigi's sake as well. When you disenchant a card right now, every card has dust value, and every card except commons for some reason dust for 1/4 of their value. So you would have to destroy 4 full legendary cards in order to use your dust to craft 1. But golden ones, however, disenchant for the full value. So you disenchant a golden legendary.
Not exactly.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Well, it's the full value of a regular, not the full value of the gold.
Yeah, that's what I was leading into. So if you disenchant a golden card, you can immediately use all that dust to craft a card of the same rarity, non-golden. And the only time that you can dust a card for full value is when it's nerfed or when it's Hall of Fame. Or no, I don't think Hall of Fame applies, does it? They just give you the refund. You don't actually get full value on the card, right?
Yeah.
But they're not even doing Hall of Fame anymore, which also removes another huge source of dust for players that, hold on to their cards and wait. So,
well, it's hard to comment on something that we aren't being fully queued into, so I don't want to do that.
That is true. We'll have to wait and see what they do with it.
They're being cryptic, so. But I think that one of the biggest issues, though, with the dust system right now with legendaries and such, and this is also going to be in terms for people that don't play Hearthstone or don't know that much about Hearthstone, is that in Hearthstone, if you're opening packs, as I already said, one pack is worth $1.50, and and the penalty, not the penalty, the pity timer for getting a legendary is 40 packs. So you are guaranteed one legendary every 40 packs, which then translates to every $60, which then translates to, if you want one legendary, you most likely you're not going to get it out of a pack. You're probably going to have to make it. And if you disenchant 4 legendaries, which each one took about $60 to get, that means that you're going to have to do that 4 more times before you can get the one you want.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so, it's... You look at another game like Legends Runeterra. They just give you a million. I don't play Legends. I play maybe 1 or 2 matches every day, and you log on and your weekly chest has a full free legendary in it, and a bunch of rares and commons just for playing the game. And then you can also buy cards straight up. Like, to buy a legendary in Hearthstone, like, if you just wanted to sit and say, I want to spend money till I get a legendary, you just have to keep buying packs. It could be anywhere from, like, $20 of packs to 30 to 40, maybe, if you get really unlucky. With Legends of Runeterra, if you really don't want to wait and play the game to get your free rewards, you pay like $1.20, and you can craft any hero card you want.
Yeah, and I would also like to clarify that I have this position and I feel this way not because I want the game to be cheaper, not because I want the game to be better for myself, not because I think that this would be nice for me. I'm a whale. I have a full collection, and
Dude, wait, you have a full collection?
I have a full collection, and I don't want anyone to have to do what I had to do to get it. That's why I feel this disposition. I want new players to have an easier time. I want people that want a full collection to be able to obtain a full collection, not buy a full collection.
I completely agree. Like, I myself am kind of, I would say, a semi-whale. I mean, personally, trying to think, like, I started playing the game and I got really into it, and so I've probably spent, like, I'll say under $1,000, but above $100, like, significant. Like, I say maybe 500, around that range, right? And I don't even have anything close to a full collection. Okay, I'm pretty smart with my dust and everything, so I have a pretty wide collection. I can play whatever I want to play, but I am nowhere near a full collection. That's having spent a good chunk of money on the game over the course of like 3 years now. So
yeah, I mean, honestly, for anyone that wants to know how do you get a lot of gold, and how do you get a lot of packs, and how do you get a lot of dust, and how do you get a lot of cards without having to like spend money, best way to do that is arena or duels. Honestly, I like duels more than arena. All you have to do is be good at those or get lucky with those, and you can, for example, last night when I did that 10 wins, I got 250 gold back. So I spent 150. I got a pack. I got a rare card, and I got 250 gold. So like if you kept on doing that, you'll get more gold than you did originally. Buy the packs you want, and you'll get packs from the most recent expansion.
But people don't mention that a new player isn't probably going to be averaging 6 wins in arena, which is breaking even around, or 12 to go infinite. So not on top of that, you have to have like understood the game's mechanics and everything. So I would recommend, if you really want to use arena as your main source of gold, to really like be okay maybe losing a couple runs, just to kind of figure things out, or read up and watch up on a lot of arena Trump. Okay, Hearthstone Trump has some really good videos and like guides and stuff. There's a lot of resources out there for a new player, but it's really kind of a time sink if you really want to get into it.
But yeah, I mean, and also another little tidbit for new players that might be listening to this: play the solo adventures. They help you learn how to play the game.
And for Rise of Shadows and the 3-year the Dragon ones give you some cards if you play them. So there's you're already gaining something just for playing it. Yeah,
you get card packs, but then they cost gold. There's all this weird stuff.
Yeah.
But
although honestly, I would recommend. Well, it kind of depends. I wouldn't recommend spending your gold to unlock like Galakrond's Awakening. I would recommend just buy packs for
rotations.
Yeah, not at this point, unless you want to play Wild. Either way.
If you want to play Wild, you're going to need some of them, especially Risky Skipper and Dark Blade.
Oh yeah. I mean, let's be real. If you want to play Wild in Hearthstone, you pretty much have to start a new credit card.
The credit card's the best card in the game.
Strongest one. All right.
Luigi.
So, yeah, go for it.
Well, so this next question, we'll take this one, keep it as brief as we can. We'll say, if there's one thing that you would want Blizzard to change, what would that one thing be?
Dust.
Okay, I think we've spent like the entire question describing it. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about something other than the economy, because we've already made it clear, I think. I hope I can speak for both of us when we've talked about it for a bit. Personally, one thing other than the economy, like I would really want Blizzard to see doing is, I would say, experiment more with card design. Okay, one big thing. I figured it out. I had to think for a second. Stop printing. Don't be afraid to print new archetypes. You know, one of the main reasons Secret Mage is the most oppressive deck in Wild, period, is because of how much consistent secret support it's gotten over the years. You know, Flak Mage pretty much broke the deck. So I mean, and they printed like no minion mage, and we haven't really gotten any no minion mage, thing. They've been pretty good about it. You know, they've printed Pure Paladin, which was something new they hadn't done before, and they're looking like they're going to support it. But or if they do choose to be printing these existing archetypes, like balance them better. Overload Shaman, it's a deck I love, but it's like complete garbage outside of like certain combos and whatnot. So that's really. I wish they would do more things with design and be more open with the community. But I'll give it over to Fate now.
Yeah, I think that opened the door for. I wasn't thinking the question through from outside the business and game design. That's how I was thinking about it. But I guess Tag is right. This question also goes for gameplay. And I think that if there's one solid little thing I'd like to say Blizzard to do is whenever you're designing cards, make sure that you keep other cards in mind. Because that happens all too often, where two things work together so unbelievably well and it has to be nerfed. Like, for example, Potion of Illusion with Tortolan Mage, Pilgrim. That broke the game for a while. Hysteria. I mean, sure. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. No one would ever stop to think about Tiller, ever.
Yeah,
okay?
wretched.
But then again, when Snip Snap was coming out, before you released Snip Snap, you nerfed the Experimenter in Priest because you knew it was going to be a problem because people were talking about it. You see that people.
And then instead of just hitting like they completely destroyed the Echo mechanic just because of that one deck.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry.
I mean,
but
trying to beat Witchwood Solo Adventure after they nerfed Echo was so hard.
I know. I still haven't beat it with Tess. She's the worst.
Oh, I've done all the solo adventures, and I'm so happy I did.
I should go back. But yeah. So I definitely agree with Fate on that as well. Definitely keep things in mind. Think back a little.
Sounds solid. That sounds solid. But
all right.
Yeah, yeah. Then our last question for the evening. If you can speak briefly about what is going on with the competitive scene right now. How have these new features and new updates and new minikits and whatever affected the competitive scene?
Well, I'll let Fate start off on this one. I've been kind of going. Go ahead.
I think that the competitive scene in Hearthstone's dying as a whole because of the game is doing two things that I really like the game's doing one thing that I both love and hate, and it's taking advantage of the fact that it's a digital game. It's taking advantage of the fact that cards can create other cards and that minions can be summoned and that all of these random spells can be cast. That couldn't happen in a real life card game, but it can happen in a digital format, and that's why Hearthstone's so special, is because it takes advantage of the fact that it isn't under the pressure of having to hold the cards or have to have the full collection to make those effects happen. And that's a great thing for like making the game more fun and interesting. But when you move it to such an extent where it is right now, where random is such a big keyword and all of these different little features, it kind of destroys the possibility of strategy existing within a competitive scene unless you ban certain cards. And that's really unfortunate that the game has gone to this extent. And also at the same time, I think that the competitive scene, it has gotten very exclusive, and that's really unfortunate because it's gone to being people that Blizzard reach out to and tell that I want you to be in the competition. It's like an invite-only thing. It's not interactive with the community. It's not interactive with their top players. It's just those who have publicity. And I think it's unfortunate, but I think that's partially the pandemic's fault. That's partially the consumers for not talking up soon enough about random. There's just a lot of interesting things. But in order for this game to be better on the competitive scene, it's going to have to roll back its random, and it's going to have to be more accessible to compete.
I totally agree with pretty much literally everything Faith said. A big thing that kind of made the esports scene in Hearthstone specifically take a hit was their full move to YouTube. Because they took a lot of money in to move. I don't know from what, I think it was Google, to move all of their esports streaming for Overwatch from Twitch to YouTube, and then they said, okay, we'll throw in Hearthstone too, and that really killed viewership. Like they went down like I think 5,000 to 10,000 viewers. You know, the average esports, and as he said, they don't do a great job of promoting them. A lot of competitions and things have kind of gone unannounced and not promoted at all on any of their social media outlets. And then on top of that, they have this new bit of a sore throat today.
No,
they have a new, they have a new Grandmaster system where it's like it's kind of a convoluted system. I actually participated in one of the Masters tours. I placed like 100 and something, so I had no chance of making it. But the whole process was kind of confusing. You know, as someone starting it for the first time, obviously I wasn't trying to get into the competitive scene, but you'd think that it would be a little more accommodating for new people. So I feel, and then on top of that, as an esport, you kind of can't have any credibility as a skill-based game, as Fate said, when there's all this random generation. When you can play a 10-mana card that has like a 5% chance to just end the game there, I don't think anyone's really going to take you seriously as a skill-based esport. That is to say, though, I feel like they have their out in terms of the esports scene. You know, they've said they want to move away from Discover and Generation. That's great. Okay. If they really start pushing more into making it more about minions on the board, you know, more of a tempo sort of back and forth thing, not just let me generate whatever I can and hit you with it. You know, I feel like it could become a more enjoyable experience for everyone, both competitively and casually. And maybe, and obviously the COVID-19 everything has kind of messed up the competitive scene, but I'll be definitely following and seeing how esports goes after things are able to go physical again. Blizzard has the out on how to make Hearthstone esports a bigger thing and regain their kind of lost popularity, but I don't think they'll take it. I'm being honest here. I'm kind of pessimistic. The Blitzchung incident, you know, this whole political issue with China and Hong Kong, like they've kind of, Blizzard have been kind of driving themselves into the dirt lately. And Hearthstone's been doing fine, to be fair, but overall, the management kind of needs a serious change, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. But that's my main thought there.
Yeah. No, that's very profound. That's very fair. I know I don't follow Blizzard super a lot myself, but they are absolutely one of the most controversial game developers out there right now, because I mean, anytime that I do hear about them as an outsider, it's just another legal, or not even legal, but like political stance that they have taken in regards to China and human rights, that people have just been like, oh, hey, look, another reason to hate Blizzard, you know? So
I can tell you, after the whole incident, sorry if you were trying, but like literally like over half of my friends list on Hearthstone just deleted the game or stopped playing it completely. Like, that was probably the biggest hit they've taken in recent.
I mean, I don't blame your friends for quitting, I'll be honest. I mean, you can't support that kind of thing. You know,
I felt so bad because like right before, that was around the time when Descent of Dragons was coming out, I think.
Oh yeah,
I remember I bought the right before like I heard wind of this and like the news
the mega bundle
about everything. I bought the mega bundle and I was like, well, now I can't quit.
Like, five of my friends.
Now I'm on the wrong side of history. Might as well go for it.
Several of them refunded their mega bundles. I mean, I usually pre-order, but for most of Year of the Dragon, I didn't do any pre-orders. I kind of coasted by on my own Golden Dust supply, so that kind of solidified my decision not to buy anything at that time. I only started getting back into it. Last pre-order I did was Scholomance. I've pre-ordered Scholomance and Darkmoon, but yeah. But either way, yeah, they're gonna need a lot of PR work and a lot of good releases to kind of climb back up.
Yeah, absolutely. And since we're on, well, now that we've talked about things that Blizzard have done and stances that have made players want to quit. If you're listening to this, don't feel pressured one way or the other to quit the game, and don't feel bad if you haven't quit the game. But it is important that when things like this take place in the world, and when our fellow man is going through stuff like this, it is very important that we do not deny that these things are happening. So continue to play the game. By all means, enjoy it, because it is art. Video games are art, and they are meant to be enjoyed. But do not enjoy them at the expense of denying what your fellow man is going through. And I know that is a rather profound statement to come from the person who's just been listening this whole time, but, it's important.
No, that's really good. Very good.
Yeah.
I love the human rights lecture from the Luigi icon lighting up.
Hey man, it can come from anywhere. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not what you normally hear on my channel for sure, but it'll come out every now and then. It's important stuff.
Important things.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, I think that this is a very good podcast. Thank you both for being here. Do y'all have any parting messages?
I would have to say thank you very much for having me on and for giving me such a well-versed fellow guest star here. And it was very fun. I don't get to talk about this kind of thing very often, so kudos.
Well, it was great having you. It was great having you.
I would like to say thank you for a platform that people will see or hear, because I've always lecture my friends about this kind of stuff, and then they're just just talking their ear off about like all the financials and the deeper meanings of like the marketing and things like that.
Yeah,
and I'm glad I got to come up here, argue the conjecture, talk about points, talk about the game itself. It was really nice.
Yeah, it was so satisfying to just kind of sink your teeth in there. Totally.
Oh yeah, super fun. And to any Dinomancers out there listening, keep on having good stats for the cost.
Well, don't forget, I am the greatest Dinomancer.
That is a challenge that you've just issued for anybody who heard that. You're gonna have at least one person knocking at your door trying to take down your title. Well. Again, thank you both for being on here. I personally really enjoyed listening to this. It was quite possibly the most in-depth explanation that a new person to this series and to this game could have possibly gotten. And so I deeply appreciate both of you being here to enlighten me effectively about how the world of this game and the mechanics of this game.
Oh yeah, and here's a little thing
no
for you, and also for anyone else that might have been overwhelmed by this. Is Hearthstone is one of those games where it's as complicated as you want it to be or as simple as you want it to be. If you want it to be like a game about smashing minions together and casting spells, it's great. If you want it to be about infinite OTK decks with a farmer, that's also for you.
And you gotta keep in mind, this you guys have been listening to like 3-ish hours, I don't even know, of two nerds that have been playing the game for like 2+ years. Okay, so by all means, go out there, and if it sounds interesting to you, give it a try.
It's good. I think those are very good words to end it out on. Just give it a try. All right, everybody. Thank you from TSP Streamer Pack Podcast. We will be back with another episode on Hearthstone in a few weeks after the meta stabilizes to give us another little good chat about where it is at that point in time. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. Stick around for more, and until next time, we'll see you then.